Yeah, welcome back. Very good morning to one and all. Hope you're all going through the classes properly and making a serious note of it. And at the same time, this week onwards, you are getting a little more flexibility to recollect or to revise the earlier classes because we are going to give a little break even on Saturday from videos. Of course, Zoom interactions will be continued. Saturday you are going to have Zoom interaction to discuss our doubts and to discuss the concepts. But we are giving a little break from videos so that you will be more comfortable to recollect a few videos which you were missed because of some technical issues or because of maybe some other works. You might be missing few videos to watch properly and to make a notes of it. So make sure that you are not going to miss any class and even preparation of notes and revising the class properly. Keep all these things in the mind. So coming to our topic, you know very well we are dealing with little more mathematical concepts that involves with physics. We are dealing. In this process, we have dealt with coordinate system in the earlier classes. So that what is meant by graph and how to come across the slope of the graph. And at the same time, we have come across the concept of differentiation and the operator is derivative. Yes, the mathematical operation which is a differentiation will be operated over a function. When y is a function of x, then derivative of y with respect to x will give slope of the graph at any particular point. Regarding this, you have got explanation in the earlier class. It's all about how to calculate the slope of the graph, because usually we come across different situations in our physics which we need to identify the slope of the graph. I have given few examples even in the earlier class to you, and let me explain little more examples regarding the concept of differentiation and the slope of the graph. Then we enter into the next topic. For example, here you see, hopefully I have given two examples in the earlier class regarding the slope of the graph using differentiation concept, and later in the just last previous class we have dealt with the concept of maximum and minimum concept. Yes, so here let us take one more example. If you are continuing, this will be third example. The momentum of a particle p for momentum, the momentum of a particle is varying with respect to time as p equal to 2t square minus 3t plus 1. The momentum of a particle varying with respect to time as p equal to 2t square minus 3t plus 1. Yes. So simply what you can write here it is, your momentum is function of time. So what? Yes, coming to the point. The slope of PT graph, which is dp by dt. How do you read this? dp by dt. Rate of change in momentum with respect to time. You know that dy by dx, rate of change in y with respect to x. So here it is rate of change in momentum with respect to time will give the force acting on the body. You have learnt this already. But this is instantaneous force. Average force means delta p by delta t. Total change in momentum divided by total interval of time. You will come across an average force acting on the body. You learnt already in the earlier class. There are average terms which are explained for an interval of time. But this is for instant of time I think it is very clear in the earlier classes. So the instantaneous force acting at that particular instant of time will be given by dp by dt. Now coming to the point, here derivative of momentum with respect to time will give instantaneous force acting on the body. This is equal to derivative of 2t square minus 3t plus 1 with respect to time. This is equal to, now here derivative of 2t square means 4t, because let me write in detail, 2 into t square derivative 2t minus 3 into derivative of t with respect to t 1 plus derivative of 1 with respect to t 0. So this is equal to 4t minus 3. This is instantaneous force equation that is acting on the body, which is a function of time. As a force acting on the body is a function of time, you can say that is variable force acting on the body. If you wish to know the force acting on the body at t equal to 2 seconds, put t equal to 2. 4 2s are 8 minus 3, 5 Newton. If you wish to know force acting on the body at t equal to 1.5 second, at that particular instant of time, then 4 into 1.5, 6 minus 3, 3 Newton. If you wish to know force acting on the body at t equal to 0, at t equal to 0 means the moment you are going to start your observation will be taken as t equal to 0, because t for a time interval. So at the moment you are going to start your observation, then t equal to 0, then 4 into 0 minus 3, which is minus 3 Newton. Of course, the minus indicates the force acting in opposite direction. The plus means positive direction, minus means negative direction. That's it. So this is how you can derive the equation for instantaneous force from momentum concept. This is what you need to understand. Suppose, as you have learned the concept of maximum and minimum in the earlier class, you learned the concept of maximum and minimum. Shall I repeat once? If y is a function of x, you will come to know where the value of y is maximum or minimum on making dy by dx equal to 0. Similarly, momentum is a function of time. If you wish to know where my momentum is maximum or minimum, to know that you have to make dp by dt equal to 0. So let me give more clarity. To know either maximum moment or minimum moment. What's the maximum moment that a body can take? What is the minimum momentum that the body can take? If you wish to know, what you need to start? Derivative of momentum with respect to time equal to 0. You need to start with this point. To know where the momentum is maximum or minimum, you need to initiate with the derivative of p with respect to time equal to 0. That means, what is the derivative of p with respect to time here? Derivative of p with respect to time you calculated already, of course, instantaneous force, which is 4t minus 3. So here equalize 4t minus 3 equal to 0. Then 4t equal to 3. Then t equal to 3 by 4 seconds. 3 by 4 means 0.75 seconds. Means at this particular instant of time, t equal to 0 means the moment you started your observation. T equal to 0.75 seconds. At this particular instant of time, the momentum will be either maximum or minimum, because derivative of y with respect to time equal to 0 either for maximum or minimum. So at t equal to 3 by 4, 0.75 seconds, your momentum may be maximum or minimum. If you wish to know whether it is maximum or minimum at that place, you have to calculate d square p by dt square, second derivative. Means, if you are going to differentiate momentum once, it is dp by dt. This value, if you are differentiating again, then it is a d square p by dt square, which is equal to d by dt of dp by dt means 4t minus 3. So here 4 into derivative of t with respect to t 1 minus derivative of 3 equal to 0, then your answer is 4, which is plus. Means your d square p by dt square is positive answer. I told you, when d square y by dx square is positive, then that is minimum at t equal to 3 by 4 seconds. It is minimum. Sir, then where it is maximum? Where it is maximum? We can't define its maximum value because we come across a d square p by dt square is positive. So if it is negative, we can define maximum, but if it is positive, we can't define maximum. We can define a minimum. So the minimum momentum that a particle can have according to this equation, the minimum moment that a particle can have at t equal to 3 by 4 seconds. If you wish to know that minimum momentum in this equation, 2t square minus 3t plus 1, put to t equal to 3 by 4. 2t square minus 3 into t plus 1. You need to put t equal to 3 by 4. To know the minimum momentum at t equal to 3 by 4 seconds, in this equation, substitute to t equal to 3 by 4. Then it is 2 into 9 by 16 minus 9 by 4 plus 1. Then this is equal to 9 by 8 minus 9 by 4 plus 1. You can take 8 as LCM. 9 minus 2 9s are 18 plus 8. Then this is going to be minus 1 by 8. This is kg meter per second, of course, units of momentum. This is how you need to handle the concept of differentiation. See, I have taken the momentum as a function of time. Then the rate of change in momentum with respect to time will give the force. As it is, dp by dt will give instantaneous force. Delta p by delta t will give average force. Anyway, our topic is all about differentiation. Then later, I will be able to assess where it is maximum or minimum. And I can calculate what is that minimum value of that momentum of your body. This is all a little more explanation on combining the earlier two classes. One is introduction to the concept of differentiation. Later it is all about the formula in differentiation, and then the concept of maximum and minimum of a function. Combining all those points, I have explained one particular example here. So this is what you can note down to get more clarity on the earlier concepts. Now we enter into another different concept in mathematics and physics. Once note down this. Yes, so we have seen till now regarding the graph and calculation of slope of a graph. If the graph is a straight line, then its slope is always constant at every point on that line, which is given by a formula m equal to tan theta. If the graph is a curve, then we differentiate that mathematical equation with respect to the variable. As y is a function of x, you need to differentiate y with respect to x, then you will come across a dy by dx will give slope of the graph. If you wish to calculate at a particular point either x equal to 3, x equal to 5, then substitute the particular value of x in that dy by dx value, then you will get slope of the curve at any given point. After dealing with this, now the topic that we are going to handle is all about area of the graph. Till now we have dealt with the slope of a graph, but now here it is all about area covered by the graph. What extent of area your particular graph is going to cover? Actually it is very small point, but it has its own significance in physics. We discuss. But first let us see how to calculate, how to come across the area covered by the graph and what are the points in it. Let us see first. So to understand this, let me start with an example. Here y equal to f of x, y is a function of x, whose graph is a straight line. Of course, once look at this, whose graph is a straight line like this, which is passing through origin. Yes, what you are expecting is right. This straight line can be obtained on joining different ordered pairs that are located in the coordinate system. The straight line can be obtained on joining different ordered pairs that are located in the coordinate system according to the mathematical equation. You have learnt this already. Now, once look at this, just for some time, I am telling an example to understand this. So this is y equal to f of x whose graph is a straight line. But still, let me tell you a few things in this graph, in the data, so that I come across my point. Here, let us suppose x equal to 1 and y equal to 2 for some time, just for some time. And x equal to 2, here x equal to 2, some y equal to, or else let us take the equation y equal to f of x I have given. So let us take it is x plus 1, for example. Then x equal to 1, y equal to 2. And here, sorry, you should not take y equal to x plus 1 because it's a straight line passing through origin. So let me take it is 2x, y equal to 2x. X equal to 1, y equal to 2. X equal to 2, y equal to 4. X equal to 3, y equal to 6. X equal to 4, y equal to 8. In that way. Now here in this particular data, if I wish to calculate the area covered by the graph from x equal to 1 to x equal to 3. To explain that, let me take another picture here. The same graph I am taking once again here. This is y equal to 2x graph, which is a straight line. But my question is area covered by the graph. This is the question. In this I am explaining few more points. This is the data and simultaneously it is a question. In this I wish to calculate area covered by the graph from x equal to 1 to x equal to 3. Means here when x equal to 1 here, x equal to 3 here, you wish to calculate area covered by x equal to 1 to 3 means this shaded portion. Look at this. This is the meaning of area covered by the graph, what you should know. I wish to calculate area covered by the graph from x equal to 1 to x equal to 3. Means this is what I wish to calculate. This is what. Sir, how can I get? Yes, you are seeing a regular shape which is a trapezium, you know. In this trapezium, the area of trapezium is given by half into sum of the parallel sides into height of the trapezium. Perpendicular distance between two parallel sides. What are these two parallel sides here? You know, when x equal to 1, y equal to 2. When x equal to 3, y equal to 6. Means this is 2 units, this is 6 units. So here it is 2 plus 6. And here height of the trapezium means perpendicular distance between the two parallel sides. Here to here. Here x equal to 1, here x equal to 3. So this perpendicular distance between two parallel sides will be 3 minus 1, 2. So if you have done the calculation, it is 8 square units. Area kada? So you should say 80 square units. It is not simply 80 units. So this is how you can calculate the area covered by the graph from x equal to 1 to x equal to 3. This is one example. Let me give another example to understand area covered by the graph. Here, once look at this. Here, the equation is y equal to 4x minus 3. Y equal to 4x minus 3. Can you guess the shape of the graph? Yes, you can guess. It is resembling y equal to mx plus c. This explanation will let you even to revise earlier concepts. The mathematical equation y equal to 4x minus 3 resembling y equal to mx plus c with m equal to 4 and c equal to minus 3. Is it clear or not? Compare your mathematical equation with y equal to mx plus c. m equal to 4, c equal to minus 3. Because it can be written as 4x plus of minus 3. So whose graph is a straight line having y-intercept minus 3. Y-intercept is negative. Y-intercept is negative, don't forget. And your slope is positive, means your straight line should make an angle less than 90 degrees. That's why your straight line should be like this. Which makes an angle theta less than 90 degrees with a positive x-axis so that your slope is positive. Don't forget that. And y-intercept is negative, so your straight line will be like this. But very interesting thing, if you wish to know x-intercept, you can. Because at x-intercept, can you tell me? At x-intercept, y equal to 0. On x-axis, y equal to 0, you have learned. So if you put y equal to 4x minus 3, y equal to 0, 4x equal to 3, x equal to 3 by 4. So your x-intercept is 3 by 4 here. So this is a graph for y equal to 4x minus 3. Then there is a question to you. For example, this is all here, some x equal to 2. So this is your graph. And let me name it as A, B, C is your graph. And let us take here x equal to 2 means y equal to 4 2s are 8 minus 3, 5. So y equal to 4x minus 3, whose graph is a straight line. Now there is a question to you. In this particular graph is given like this. This is the data. Graph is given like this. In this particular graph, calculate the area covered by the graph will be your question. Note down this question because I will edit solution here itself. You can't find question later. This is the question. Calculate the area covered by the graph in the figure will be your question. Hope you have written down the question. Now see, this shaded portion will represent the area covered by the graph. This shaded portion is the area covered by the graph. Then how to calculate? Yes, certainly what you are expecting is right. If this is A1 and this is A2, then area covered by the graph will be A1 plus A2. Of course, this is a triangle and this is a triangle. So A1 equal to half into base into height is equal to half into, what is the base of this triangle here? Here to here. Here to here means x equal to 3 by 4 base into height of the triangle, this one, which is 3 units. Not minus 3, just 3, because you are taking magnitude of area. So 3 3s are 9 by 2 4s are 8 square units. If you wish to calculate area covered here A2, again same formula, half into base here to here. Here to here means 2 minus 3 by 4, because here x equal to 3 by 4, here x equal to 2. So here to here means 2 minus 3 by 4 will be how much? 2 minus 3 by 4 means 3 by 4 means 0.75. So it will be 1.25. So 1.25 into height, this one. This one means 5 units. So this is equal to 5 into 1.25. This will be 5 means so it is 625. Yes, by 2. 625 by 2 square units. Then total area covered by the graph will be equal to 9 by 8 plus 625 by 2 will be the total square units. You go for addition of this. So this is how what we are going to discuss about the area covered by the graph in the coordinate system. This is what you need to learn. Earlier you all dealt with the graph and the slope. Of course, the graph of a straight line, the graph of a curve. Now here it is all explanation about area covered by the graph in the coordinate system. Of course, in all these situations I have given the graph is a straight line. Sir, if the graph is a curve, then what about it? If the graph is a curve, how to calculate? Yes, let me introduce, but not now. See here, this is x-axis and this is y-axis, whose graph is a curve like this. If you wish to know from x equal to 2 to x equal to 4, if you wish to know area covered by the graph, then this shaded portion will give area covered by the graph. But our graph is a curve. So you will not come across a particular shape in geometry. If it is a regular geometrical shape, you have some formula. Either it is area of triangle or area of rectangle, area of trapezium, however it is. But there, in the case the graph is a curve, we don't come across a particular geometrical shape. Then how to calculate this area covered by the graph from x equal to 2 to x equal to 4, which is the shaded portion. I don't know whether it is visible there or not. I am writing here. Here y equal to f of x is a curve. So you wish to calculate the area covered by the curve from x equal to 2 to x equal to 4, means this shaded portion. How to calculate this shaded portion? This is the question mark. For this, there is a little different mathematical analysis that we are going to discuss in the next class. So what we have discussed today, it's all about a little more conclusions regarding slope of the graph and the introduction to area covered by the graph when the graph is a straight line. If the graph is a curve, then how to deal with that? And in what manner this area of the graph in coordinate system can be connected with physics? Yes, these are all the things that we are going to cover in the next class. So once again, I am giving a reminder to you. Make sure that whatever the mathematics and physics classes that is sent to you, you are going thoroughly and making a serious preparation of it, because these points will come everywhere as long as you connected with physics. Very, very important concepts that are required in physics. You could not move further with high standard applications when you are not going through these points thoroughly. That's why take some time, spend some time, make a notes of it and then revise it properly. Just writing and then keeping aside, there is no purpose. Revise it properly. Then you can find the purpose of this mathematics in physics. Please try to understand. Here it is not 8th class syllabus. It is not a particular 9th standard syllabus. It is not particular 10th standard syllabus. It is the particular syllabus that is required to understand physics. Whether it is at 8th, 9th, 10th, plus 1, plus 2 and then. Which are important concepts that are required to apply in physics. That's why once refer them seriously. Even that is the reason why I am taking a little bit slow with these concepts of mathematics and physics, as are completely new to you. Fine. So what we are going to discuss in the next class, how to connect this area of the graph and what is its significance in physics. And if the graph is a curve, how do we come across the area covered by the graph when the graph is a curve? These are the points that we are going to discuss in the next class. Take care.